Hi Priya, this is Harsh Nissan. ओके सो ये आपने बताया सबको कि लाइव जाने के बाद क्या करना है, उसको आईजीन फील कैसे करना है। ठीक है। तो जब वो ख़त्म हो जाएगा,
अच्छा खत्म, ठीक है, स्टार्ट। So good evening everyone. I hope I'm audible to everyone. So that's one of those protocols which we are now all following. Even if I'm audible, I have to ask that one question to everyone, that am I audible to you or not? So let me do that protocol and move ahead with the session, because people, when we go on FB or Instagram online, we are always audible, and larger audience gets to know about us. That's the power of social media. Anyway, so we are here to discuss about something which really interests me a lot, and I'm always very gung-ho about, and that is about the law graduation which I had done. I graduated from NLIU Bhopal in 2006. Then I stepped into corporate world with a placement as corporate lawyer. I worked with Singhania and Partners, and then I started teaching. And believe me, when I joined my law school, I always wanted to be a civil judge, a magistrate. But then, as I say, things change, and that's basically the change which I'm going to talk about today. That how things change, how situations change, and someone who belongs to a South Indian family and who was inclined to become an engineer after graduating from the best IITs, as is everyone in his family did, diverted himself to the ways of law graduation, and he did it at a time when there was no CLAT, and he did it at a time when everyone wanted to be an engineer. And the moment you say law, everyone used to take a look and say, law? Why would he want to do law? So that's the story what I want to discuss, and probably I'll discuss few career options also which are now available after law. I will not be talking about litigation because a lot has been talked about it, and people now have got to know about it also, thanks to legendary lawyers like Harish Salve, and also to the young lawyers, many of whom are also my students whom I have taught, who have joined the profession, and they are all doing exceptionally well. Okay, they are doing exceptionally well. That today litigation has become a career option, which is which is being considered by people. But with that, there are other career options also which I have been able to explore through my research, which I'll be discussing with in this session. But before that, let me discuss those 5 years of my life with you, and what changed in me, what happened in those 5 years, and why I think a student, if he has certain qualities, should go for law. Okay, because now is a time when I remember in the year 2007 when I had opened up my own law prep coaching center, and I was training students. I had to go to schools, and the moment I would say law, there was a crowd which used to frown at me and say, law? But nowadays I see so many students, they want to do law. Then I also ask this question, that why do you want to do law? And I often get this answer where they give me a kind of an answer which is not very satisfying to me. They would say, I want to fight for justice, I want to do this, blah, 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 etc., etc., which in a way is good. But there's a lot of misconceptions also. Many students saying that law school is all about fun, that then you need not study. Many students saying that studious students go for engineering, and those who do not want to study end up in law school. That is absolute. That's not a true thing. It's something which is crap, and I'm here to decode all those things. So one by one, each year, I'm going to tell you that what exactly is law school all about, and how it changed someone, an average student like me, into someone who stepped into law school and changed. Okay, so let me tell you my story. So the story goes back as a boy who was the youngest in the family. So the one who is the youngest in the family, you can all understand, he is almost like dabi kuchli janta of the house. No one gives any damn to whatever they say. So that was me. I was the youngest in the family, so I'll tell you an instance which happened in my family which will help you understand that what my situation was. Though we are the most pampered and all, that's how people, project about the youngest people in the family. But I remember once when I came back from school, our entire house materials were getting packed up in a truck. And I asked my dad, what is happening? To which my dad was like, we have bought a new house and we are shifting. To which I was like, Arey, someone should have told me. To which my dad was like, shut up and get into the car. Chup chap, gaadi mein jaake baith jao. It's like, theek hai. Now, that was what I was all about. Okay. And my brother was very studious. I was a very average student, someone who can just, manage something between 80 to 70%. And the biggest moment of my life happened when I was being pushed for IIT, because you have to go the family way. So you have to, when you graduate from 10th, you have to choose a subject, and everyone was pressurizing me that you should take maths and then prepare for the IITs. So there was an incident which happened that we were invited for a marriage in Chennai, where I was about to meet many of my friends and many of my cousins who went to IITs. So the entire purpose of going there in the back of my mind was not to participate in a marriage, but to meet these cousins of mine from IIT. Some of them were working with Adobe, some of them were working with then Google. So I just wanted to know about the lifestyle, etc. Though I had my own sibling, but then we do not borrow much of those things from our sibling. So I said, let me go and just have a chat with these guys. But to my surprise, none of them turned up. No one was there. Their wives were there with huge paychecks and huge gifts, etc. for the bride, but they were not there. So I had a doubt in my mind, and I went and I asked, why are they not here? They should be here. To which one of my bhabis, she said, no, that's not possible because they don't have leave. They work. They have a very busy schedule. I was like, fair enough. Probably that there could be n number of reasons behind it. So I just gave it a skip and I said, theek hai. But then there was this one cousin of mine who was there. And where do we get our impressions from? We get our impressions from movies, Indian, proud to be an Indian. So during our time, there was this one movie which had released, and its name was Hum Aapke Hai Kaun. I don't know how many youngsters know about this movie, but there was this one movie called as Hum Aapke Hai Kaun. And the character of Mr. Salman Khan in that movie was something which each teenager like me wanted to be like, because the way he behaved, the way he spoke. So this cousin of mine was exactly like the character called as Prem, played by Salman Khan in the movie. From a toddler to the eldest one in the family, everyone was too much into him. Everyone was like, everyone was praising him. They were so mesmerized by his persona. I was also like, oh, what a man this guy is. And I was like, let me go and talk to him. For sure he's from IIT. I went to him and I had a chat with him, and then I asked him, brother, are you from IIT? To which he took a look at me, a very weird look, and said, what's your problem? To which I said, I also want to go to IIT, so I need you to, tell me, give me some snippets about how to crack IIT. To which he gave me a very weird smile and he said, you enjoy the marriage, and throughout this marriage, and after the marriage, I'll take you out for a coffee and I'll tell you how to crack IIT. I was very happy. So like a satellite, I kept on following him throughout the marriage, very impressed with him. Man, this is how IITs look like, I'm going to IIT. But at the end of it, he took me out for a coffee and he dropped this bomb on me and he said, I'm not from IIT, I'm from a national law school and I've done my 5 years of law. So the moment he said it, my heaven came crashing down. And I was like, gee, oh yeah, exactly. That's exactly how everyone behaved back then in 2001. And that's exactly how I behaved also. But thanks to him, he introduced me to the concept called as 5-year integrated program. He told me how a persona of a person changes once you do law. He broke all the myths I had in my mind about law, that law is only for, for people who need not study, blah, blah, blah. He taught me few things, and believe me, there was no turning back. I took a landmark decision of my life where I said, I'm going for commerce because I want to prepare for the entrance examination, which then were very difficult. Believe me, CLAT is an easy examination. But back then, when I was preparing, we used to have subjective tests also. That means 50% was subjective, 50% was objective. And that's how we used to have examination. And it was very difficult, so I started preparing right from 11th, taking commerce. My cousins who were working with Adobe, etc., they all called me up and they all disowned me. They said, boss, you are done. Your life is over. You are not taking maths as an option after 10th. You are gone. But I kept on preparing. I said, no, I need to crack a national law school. I'll get into it. And then I managed to do something which was unthinkable for them. But I knew, because when I was talking to my cousin, he told me few things which really connected. He said, if you want to do law, there are few things which are very, very important. One, you should have an aptitude to critically reason out things. If you look at something, you should not be someone who just believes it. Someone who can look at a particular situation and try to derive reasons out of that problem. If a murder happens, he should not be someone who says, okay, this person has murdered. He should think beyond it and say, why did this person murder? Is he a mad person? If he's a mad person, okay, there is a defense available for that also. But again, if a person has to kill another person, there has to be a reason behind it. And then he told me that doing law, you will always get to know about yourself more than any other profession, because you are kind of reading human behavior. And when you are reading human behavior, more than anything, you also understand about society at large. Then he pointed me towards a couple who were getting married, and he said, what are they doing? I said, they're getting married. So he said, for me, they're getting into a legal relationship. And there were many things which he told me which really mesmerized me, and I could relate myself with what he was saying. I was like, that's true. That's exactly how even my brain works. And I took a leap. I took a decision. And if any student comes and asks me that why should I do law, I just tell them about those 5 years of my experiences in law school. After battling out this, I reached the law school. I remember I got to NLIU Bhopal. I got to NLSIU also, but I could not, go there because of a personal incident which happened in my family. I lost my brother, so my parents wanted me to stay in Bhopal itself. So I stayed in Bhopal and I studied, and I remember my first class very profoundly. I went there and I sat, and then I realized that there are people who have done their graduation also, who have cracked this examination and are sitting with me. They're too elder to me. And I was like, ye kya hai boss? Anyway, there were people who were as old as me also. So I was connecting with them. Just then walks in our founding Vice Chancellor of NLIU Bhopal, Professor V.S. Rekhi. And I still remember the line he said. The very first class he walks in and he says, if you have chosen law as its career option, be very clear, you have to live a life of a hermit and work like a horse. And if anyone does not agree to it, you may please leave. Take your check from the registrar and move away. There are students in waiting who will come and join in place of you. And we were like, mazak kar rahe hain, he is joking. But believe me, we have a trimester system at NLIU Bhopal, and within those 3 months, I realized he was damn right. Each word spoken by him was right. We have to live like a hermit. Living life like a hermit means you're totally cut off from the world. You study. And you're enjoying what you're studying, because as I said, you're not studying certain formulas, etc. On the other hand, what you are studying is human behavior, human conduct, about society, the relationships. And believe me, that was interesting. And because it was interesting, I loved living a life of a hermit. I was totally cut off from our entire societal marriages, blah, blah, blah. I never attended those after that, because I was busy with my studies. Not that I became a bookworm. Law school is all about many other things also, but a lot of fun other things also. But then my interaction with the society changed. I was an all-boys school product, believe me. Someone who was very, very, very shy. Someone who would not talk to people. Someone who would get jittery the moment the principal would ask him to go and present an idea in front of the morning assembly called as Thought for the Day. I will fall on the feet of those individuals and say, "Mujhe chhod do, arre mere se nahi banega." I was so shy that the sight of a female used to give me jitters. All boys school product. But then law school changed me dynamically. And though I was able to experience it, my friends, my parents, my relatives saw the change in me. And I became a brand ambassador of law graduation without even me knowing, because after watching the change in me or observing the change in me, people started recommending more and more students. And then I started taking sessions also like this. And now we have from 10,000 students who used to appear in law entrance examinations way back in 2006. Now we have 50,000 students, 60,000 students, 70,000 students. And this change is not because students are just following a wave. Yes, there are many, but there are others who are also realizing certain things. So there are there are some features of a law school student which I have seen, which I want to share with you here in those 5 years story. The first feature which I'll share with you is about a law student being a rebel. Law students are generally rebellious. They are not rebellious as in they'll fight over anything. I've seen parents who would say ये बहुत बदतमीज है. The kid is very arrogant. He's very witty, so he should do law. That's a very wrong perception. On the other hand, when I say rebel means a person who would think different from the society, not just for the sake of thinking, but because he has a point of view regarding it. When people are disputing bursting crackers on Diwali, he is someone who sees logic in it, but also is able to balance it out with the tradition. He is able to see ban and restrictions with a license and without a license, and how to regulate the environment and how to regulate the cracker industry, rather than uprightly going ahead and saying ban crackers. You getting it? You know, in a very different manner, I told you what was the solution to the banning of crackers, etc., etc. That's how rebellious people think. That's how people behave when a situation happens. Not that when 10 people are speaking in echo, he's someone who would join them and say, yeah, absolutely right, whatever is being said, I agree to it. That's not exactly how it happens. And that's exactly the point of doing law, because the moment you realize what is white and black in the society, you realize that grey is something which is a mixture of white and black. And when people say things in grey, a law student is someone who is able to see things in white and black. That makes a law student rebellious, but yes, a rebel with a deep sense of understanding of situations. Second is a better citizen. You become a better citizen because you understand the law as the way it is written down. You understand law as the way it is in practice. You understand the law as it has to be comprehended and explained before a judge, which makes you powerful but also a better citizen. I'll give you an incident which happened. This incident dates back when Bal Thackeray passed away. When Bal Thackeray passed away, I hope all of you know about Bal Thackeray. When Bal Thackeray passed away, you won't believe it, there were few girls who were arrested in the city of Mumbai just because they put something on Facebook against the closure of city called as Mumbai. They believe that the city cannot be paralyzed just because a person has passed away. That's absolute rubbish. That's how they spoke. To which they were arrested and put behind the bars. So there were a lot of hue and cry on social media. There were people burning candles, etc. All those things were happening. But you know what did a law student do? Her name is Shreya Singhal. She went to the court. She did not burn candles or anything. She went to the court and she filed a writ petition before the Supreme Court of India, challenging this arrest and challenging the very section under which these people were arrested. And she said, when I have freedom of speech and expression, which is a fundamental right under the Constitution, how dare a law be made which can prosecute me for expressing myself, which is very much under the reasonable, very much above the reasonable restriction criteria. That is something which I can do. And you won't believe it, the court also agreed with her. The court picked up the section and put it into the dustbin and said, no, such kind of arrest cannot be made. That is what makes you a better citizen. That is what makes you so powerful. That is what makes a law student a better citizen in that sense, that he knows what is white and what is black. The next feature is a rational thinker. Your rationality quotient goes for a high. You think on level where people are not. You know why? Because as I said, if you remember, when that marriage was happening, my cousin asked me what is happening. I said, marriage is happening. They are going to become one, blah, 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 Hindu concept of marriage. To which my cousin told me, no, they are getting into a legal relationship. That's rationality. Because in a marriage, the husband is not on a heavier pedestal and wife on a lower, but it's an equal relationship. That is what law says. Believe me, that is what law says. Law even says that both of them have rights and liabilities towards each other. Both of them are entering into a relationship where they promise certain things to each other. Not just because of on religious lines. Law also imposes certain rights and limitations, liabilities, etc. on those individuals. People, bash up their wives. They don't even understand what they are doing. She's an individual. She's not your property. No law, no religious law also says that wife is a property of her husband. But that's the misconception which the properties, with the people or the society is running on. That's basically what you need to cut down on. And that makes you rational. Now I'll tell you, stories about my law school life where rationality aspect came into me. I remember one of those agonies which a 5-year student has is, I remember when I was going for law, my best friends also, were there, but none of them wanted to do law. But I took up that promise on me that friendship has its own limitation, and when it comes to your life, you have to create your own career. So I went for law. They kept on, convincing me that come on, tu bhi hamare saath chal. We are going to the best, best happening place, the college where we can do BBA or BCom, and life will be beautiful, girls, movies, bikes, blah blah blah. Somehow I was not very agreeable to it, and I went for this law entrance examination. I did this. Another thing which pained me, apart from all those things, when I used to see them enjoying their life for 3 years, was they graduate quite early. Because it takes us 5 years to graduate, they take only 3 years to graduate. So I remember on their graduation parties, they used to invite me, and then they used to mock me, ki ye to abhi bachcha hai, he's a kid, he will still take 2 more years to graduate. So, you are at the receiving end of all these things. So someday you are the pigeon, someday you are the statue. That's exactly how I took it. So I said, ठीक है बोल ले दो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. And then came the 4th year. When I was in the 4th year, these friends of mine who were mocking me, all of a sudden I receive a phone call from them, and they are like, boss, why don't you come home, we'll cook food for you, blah blah blah. They were becoming extra caring about me. So I went, I had the dinner, I said, I need to go back here, I can't wait here. To which these guys were like, नहीं यार दीपू please, तू समझता नहीं है, तेरे से कुछ काम है, we have some deal. I was like, what is it all about? Can you just break the ice and come on, let the truth be out? To which one of them said, the deal is, we gave CAT and we have cleared CAT. Now there is an interview call. And in the interview, they are going to ask us questions where we want you to prepare us. And I was quite surprised. I was like, how would I prepare you and why should I prepare you? To which these friends of mine who thought that I still need 2 more years to graduate told me, boss, see, we never told you this thing, but we believe you have become very mature after going into law school. Whenever we debate something, always whatever you say makes sense to us, though we never agree to it. But that's exactly what is required in interviews at IIM. They would ask us questions, and they would ask us questions in a manner where we have to answer, where that rationality aspect is something I want you all to, I want you to, prepare us with. And I remember at that very age, I started telling my friends about how to answer. I taught them about constitution, I taught them about I remember sociology and what is corporate structure, blah, 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 blah. And 3 of my friends out of that entire group managed to crack the IIM interviews also. And I remember I was the second person after their parents, they called up to thanks and they said, boss, that interview, that session helped us a lot. You sense that? I was in the 4th year. I was not even a law graduate back then, but then that rationality came all the way from the kind of academic teaching which happens in the law school. Then you become a mature youngster. You are too young for your family, you are too young for your parents, but the world starts seeing you as very mature. Because I remember another incident when I was in the 4th year. I was sitting at my home. Again, as I said, I was the youngest in the family. Koi izzat nahi. So there was this auntie from the colony who came up and she said, Deepu, and then she met my parent, my dad, and she told him that I want to meet Deepu. I need to seek legal advice from him. To his surprise, he said he's just in the 3rd year, he doesn't know anything, usko law ke bare mein kuch nahi malum. But she was like, no, the issue is as such that we would want to discuss with him first, and then after taking an opinion, we want to go to a lawyer. To which my dad called me with my collar up and full charged on. I came with a copy and a pen and I sat in front of that auntie and I said, auntie, bataiye kya problem hai aapki? And then her problem was quite peculiar. Her problem was her daughter was married to a man, as in her son-in-law, who was a very good man, gentleman, no dowry harassment, nothing. But some nights he used to get into a fit of rage. And going into that fit of rage, he would start assaulting and beating his wife, the auntie's daughter, very badly. And then she was very illustrative also. Auntie was very illustrative. She started telling me that how she is hitting. He was like, utha ke ise diwar pe maar dega. As in, he will put, as in typical WWE style. As in, he'll pick her up and throw her inside the toilet. And then she said, he'll put his hand into her mouth and try to pull out her tongue. So even before I could say something, my father, he overtook me and he says, "Arey madam, go for a divorce. What are you even thinking about?" And I remember at that age, I had to tell my dad that she's here not for emotional advice, but for legal advice. And then I started instructing the auntie that please don't even think about divorce. This could be a disease called as schizophrenia, which can be treated. You yourself are saying, I talked about divorce agony. I talked about how marriage is a sacrament. I was full into that mode, what was taught to me inside my Hindu Marriage Act, and how divorces can play a wrong impact on the psyche of the child. I don't know what all I said. She was so convinced, and she was like, "हाँ बेटा, हम doctor के पास जाएंगे. We're not going for a lawyer." And she was so happy. She hugged me. She gave me blessings. No fees. It's okay. And she walked out. And the first person I saw the moment she left and I turned was my father, looking at me, jaw dropped like this. And I asked him, what is the problem? To which he was like, how do you know so much about marriage? You're not even married. You're just in the third year. To which I said, Dad, this is what has been taught to us. You see marriage as a very totally different concept than a lawyer. For a lawyer, it's about rights and liabilities. And if a marriage has happened under the Hindu Marriage Act, it's sacrament. It has its own, it has its own obligations and it has its own meanings under it. So we cannot let marriages go like that. You get that? So it makes you mature. And for my father, it was a huge moment of his life, because me speaking to someone like this, he could never believe it. Next comes a powerful individual. You become very powerful because, as I said, you know what is white and what is black. It makes you very powerful enough to know what is the right way for a law, what is the wrong way towards a law. Police personals are not someone you should be very scared about, but they are there for your help, provided you know your rights and duties. You know that if there is a case which comes to you, to what limit you can go ahead and save that person. If that person is guilty, you should have all the power in and all the knowledge by your side to tell him that, okay, this place you are wrong and it's better that you agree to it. The other places, these are exceptional, so I may be able to help you. I keep telling the students also, law department in corporates are so powerful. For example, say Mukesh Ambani, he has a business concept. He will discuss it with his marketing individuals. Second, the first thing he's going to discuss with his legal cell. He's going to ask for legal opinion. He's going to ask that, okay, tell me whether we should go ahead for this or not. And if I want to go ahead at any cost, what is the legal way to go ahead with it? For example, when Jio slashed its rates, there were price wars, etc. I know for a fact that Ambani would have dreamt much bigger things the way he is. But then he had to cut down on those things because there would be a lawyer, a legal team besides him who would have told him, don't go for it. Are you mad? You should not be doing this. Because the moment you do it, that you are in issue, you are in trouble. Because the Competition Act in the country is so strict, it will come behind you and then you'll have to pay probably compensations. So that makes you powerful. And the last thing which I would discuss here, as in the feature which I love discussing here, is a never retiring professional. I mean, Ram Jethmalani sir, when he passed away, that day also he was a lawyer. You getting it? He never retired. Probably, a legal advice with him on phone for 1 hour would have costed people around 3 lakh rupees for an hour. That was his worth, and he never retired, and he was about 90. Okay, so he passed away a working man, and that's what law does to you. You become a professional. You keep on reading. And one more thing, what Ram Jethmalani sir again said was, when he came for a lecture to our campus, he said, once you take up law, you are always a student. You never actually graduate. You may have degrees, but you keep on reading. And that's what lawyers also do. They keep on reading. And we enjoy reading those things. It's not like we are bludgeoned by those things. We don't like to read. For example, law in the age of pandemic was also developing. There was Pandemic Act which was pushed into, onto us. What were the rights and liberties available? Can people against whom some, atrocities have happened, can they file a case against the state? All these things were happening. IT, for example, technology laws are now under revamp. Artificial intelligence is taking place, as in I'm interacting to you using one of the boons of technology, but there are so many things which might be happening at the background of the same. Are they all legal? What about the privacy rights of everyone? For example, the moment I started with this session, it asked me specifically for some permissions. So I'm taking it via Apple device. Apple device has started promoting that privacy is something which we protect more than probably Android. That is what they're hinting, but they're saying With Apple, it's privacy. What privacy are they trying to protect? And what is Android probably compromising on? Huge researches are happening. You have to read a lot of things. And as law graduation or legal education is evolving, it's fun to be in touch with, because you are reading, and the more you are in touch with the times, the more you are, as I say, do law and stay young. You are in touch with the times, whatever is happening. So with this, I'll also discuss about few, branches of law which have just come up, and I keep on telling students about these branches of law, because many students have a mindset that when we say law, it's all about practicing in the court, though it is one of the best career options when you go for practice. But apart from that also, there are many things which people are doing. One of those things which has caught my interest of late is media and law, and how more and more law students are slowly joining the field of media. And there are apt reasons for it also. Because one of my students who has joined Media House tells me that, sir, they are very clear about how things go. It's like you can compare two senior journalists. On one side you can keep Arnab, and one side you can keep Rajdeep, and on the other side you can keep Rajat Sharma. And you could see that Rajat Sharma, who's a lawyer, is able to grill, question people in a much more civilized, smart and sharp manner than the other two. Why is he able to do it? Probably because he knows how to stay in his limit and question, and how to make sure question things in such a manner that he is able to derive out an answer from people. And that's what is journalism all about. And when we say journalism, you all know the state of journalism as of now. They also need a revamp. Slowly, they are also leveling up things. And in that leveling up of things, they are trying to hire more and more law students. Why law students? First, the one which I just discussed. Second, they also have a gift of gab. More than that, they are witty. And the best thing is, when it comes to language also has a greater control when it comes to law graduation. I remember I was not someone who used to read or write properly. I was very lazy. But once I went into law school, I started reading books by Khalid Hosseini. I started reading books by Salman Rushdie, and I started understanding those things. Because not that they were a part of my curriculum, but then that was the peer group. That was the level of thinking. That was the rationality aspect which was required from us. And we used to derive characters out of those books, and we used to think about it. यार ये ऐसा है तो कैसा है? ठीक है? And we were not just lawyers. We were many things. I remember one of those play acts which we did in law school was where we made our own script, where there was a play competition going on, and we took that play to a top engineering college which was in the city, and we won the award also for it, where we changed the script of Mahabharata to the recent context. And the context was, we showed Pandavas as evil 5 brothers, where Yudhishthira was the politician, Bhimsen was the mafia don, Arjuna was an IPS officer, and these 5 brothers were land grabbers. And Kauravas were basically poor people, 100 poor people who were stationed at a place, and these 5 have come down to grab their land, where Krishna was their lawyer. It was a play which was totally scripted, made by my own batchmate who did it, who created it in such a manner that it sounded so interesting. And when we went ahead on the stage and when we played it out, it was humorous, but it had a message. And believe me, the people who were judging were people who graduated from National School of Drama. They appreciated it. They initially thought that we are from some school of drama, but then when they came to know that we are from law school, they were not even surprised. They were like, ये तो कर ही सकते हैं, इन लोगों का दिमाग बहुत तेज होता है. That is what the judge said. Then comes sports commentator, data analyst. Now I speak this with a lot of authority because few of my students have started doing it. One of whom is Nishad Pai. You can Google his name. His name is Nishad Pai Vaidya, and he's someone who started his career as a sports commentator. Then he became a sports analyst, and today he is an independent sports commentator analyst who is hired by people like ESPN, Hotstar, etc. to host programs for them. And this guy, though he did his law, throughout his law school, he was analyzing. He's a great Rahul Dravid fan, I remember. So throughout those times, he was analyzing sports, who was playing better, etc., etc. And he became so good at it, he started publishing it. Those publications became so famous. He had 2 job offers. One was from a law firm, the other was from a sporting agency. And today, as we speak, he was covering the IPL, and he was in the bio bubble. So I follow him a lot on the social media as well as in LinkedIn. So he kept on giving us snippets about what is going to happen. He had picks with major cricketers, etc. That's the life he's living. And you know what his graduation is? Graduation is simple: BA LLB. That's it. But he is any day better than many of the cricket analysts. I'm even told that there are people who call him up and ask before the IPL auctions whom to buy and whom not to buy. That's what rationality or a rational thinker or rational mind does to people. And that's what law graduation does to people. There are people who are also stepping into politics. Again, I'll name one of my junior from my law school. His name is Guru Prakash. He has just been appointed as the speaker with Bharatiya Janata Party. He's a national level speaker. He's been given that designation just because he's worked right at the root level, helping people. He initially was a social worker, and he's an educated guy. He has not just done his BLLB from NLIU. He also got his LLM from ILI in Delhi. He did his MPhil. So he's an educated guy who knows what public wants, how to help public, and he's doing the same. And that's what law students are doing slowly. Many of the law students are even hired by Prashant Kishore. I hope all of you know this name. Prashant Kishore is the guy who creates campaigns from people like Narendra Modi, Rahul Gandhi to almost all the political parties. Those campaigning cannot be done unless until you don't have a great research behind those campaigns and what people are thinking. Who are doing this research? When it comes to people and judging people, no one can do it better than a law student. So that's about it. That's what students are doing, and they are not just people who have confined themselves to a certain quarter and just practicing law. There are people who are doing it and they're doing it exceptionally well. And students who are specifically done 5-year course are doing exceptionally well. And that's what senior counsels and senior advocates from Supreme Court are saying, that we are seeing a good change. Another change which has happened, which has been pioneered by the law school which I am representing, Jindal Global Law School, has been evolving this 5-year program into a 6-year program now. 6-year program, when I say what a 6-year program, traditionally that's exactly how law was done. People used to do graduation and then they used to go for a 3-year law. They would do anything, any BA in sociology, political science, etc. and then they will slowly step into law. So the law school which Jindal is an ever-evolving global law school which thought about something new and something which would meet the demands of the student, because there were many students who could not keep up with the pace of the 5 years. Yes, there were people in my batch also, I remember, who could not complete their law graduation in 5 years because it's very intense and it's very rapid, because they have condensed the 6-year program into 5 years. So they would graduate in 6 and 7 years. So there was a need that we introduce a new course where we are able to give students a kind of a BA honors program in humanities, where they learn about the theories of law, the basics of law, and then they step into the 3-year law. So BA Legal Studies, that's the name of the program which they have created at Jindal. They have launched this program keeping in mind such students. That's why I said it's an evolved course out of this 5-year program, out of our findings out of the 5-year program, that if not 5 years, you can go ahead and you can do it in the 6-year program. You can choose your own time and you can say, okay, I want to do 3 years of, and the curriculum of BA Legal Studies is also created like that. It starts with a lecture on logic, that how logic and law are created, what I was just discussing here, the rationality aspect. They will teach you first these things. They'll teach you legal English. They'll teach you about how the laws evolved, and only then they will take you to hardcore laws. So that's how law graduation is evolving, and I'm 100% sure those students who would do the 6-year program would have certain level of edge over those 5-year students, because just think about it, they're not just studying 1 year extra, they're not just studying 1 year extra, they're getting 1 extra year of training in all other streams also. Okay, I hope I've made sense of this 40 minutes which we had an interaction with. Now I'm open to questions. So if you have some questions, let's go ahead, because my story of 5-year ends here, where I have given you an idea about my experiences at how and what all things happen. So I'm waiting in the comment section. I would just see that if there are some questions. There are people who have waved at me a lot, but I'm now waiting for some questions. So if there are no, okay, when to start coaching of judiciary? Okay, Naman, thanks for your question. Judiciary requires you to be clear with 2 to 3 branches of law, okay, specifically procedural, and procedural law would give you a kind of a push which which would probably give you a taste of things which is bit difficult in understanding. I'll tell you how, because there are, specifically in civil procedure, there are orders, etc., where there might be a kind of a struggle which you may have to face. For which my advice to you rather is that you could go ahead and start preparing right from the time you are in the 3rd year, because by the 3rd year you have a good understanding about the substantive as well as the procedural law of the same, okay, of law. So both these things, when they are introduced into your life, and the moment you go ahead and start preparing for judiciary, it is easy for you to gulp in. And I would say not just prepare for prelims, when you are preparing, prepare for the mains as well, because there are people who will wait for the prelims to happen and then they would want to go for mains. I would rather say go ahead and start preparing everything together. Okay. 3-year course, okay, brilliant. 3-year law course is also great. Okay, hi, I don't get your name, I am PC, but thank you. I'm also very happy to see you here. Great that we met at CLAT Prep Jaipur. BCom or BBA LLB? It depends upon you, believe me, as in what is your call and what do you see yourself 5 years from there. At the end of the day, they are a degree in law. BCom would specifically prepare you for taxation and things where tax and number game, where the lawyer concerns himself with those things. So BCom is specifically a branch of law, which a branch of law graduation, BCom LLB, where you can, after your graduation, you'll be ready more for becoming a tax lawyer. But in case if you want to become a lawyer person also, there is no stopping, because I'll tell you these integrated programs, the beauty about them is, in integrated programs, the first 2 years only you'll be taught subjects from the integrated program from graduation, that is BA, BBA or BCom. The first 2 years, 4 semesters or else 8 trimesters. That's it. After it, it entirely changes. It's all about law. So you have to decide which way you want to go. BBA LLB is more into corporate. That is what people say. But I am a BA LLB, but I ended up becoming a corporate lawyer, and then I'm now into academics. So there is no hard and fast rule. At the end of the day, it's going to be a law graduation. Okay. Some books recommendation for beginners in law graduation. There are a lot of books. Believe me, there are a lot of books. But I would suggest more than books. I would want to give you a suggestion. Try to open up accounts in portals like JSTOR, and Hein Online, etc. Okay, I'm giving you a suggestion which many great faculties from universities like Harvard, Stanford, Yale, etc. are doing with their students. Books. See, I'll tell you, a book is about an author combining a few information and trying to put it in such a manner where you could probably go and read them. For criminal law, for example, my own favorite, though there are many other books, was a book by Mr. Chandrasekharan Pillai. It was called as Pillai on IPC. I really loved that book. I read that book just because I used to enjoy it. Otherwise, most of the law books are on the same topic with an author interpreting each sections. But more than that, I think this is something which can be done inside a classroom also. More than that, I would ask you to go pick up a topic, go to JSTOR, Hein Online, etc. Search for the topic and read about articles written on those topics by people. And believe me, that is going to help you a lot, because that is going to open up your entire brain, and you're going to think about things which people are not even thinking. For example, I read an article on contract which was talking about if a mother has invested in stem cells. I hope you know about stem cells. If a mother has invested on stem cells, because when she was pregnant, stem cells are derived out of the umbilical cord which connects the mother with the child. Now, if a mother has invested in a stem cell and she has banked it with a bank which has banking the stem cells, when the child grows up and he requires those stem cells and the mother does not want to give it to him, who will have the final right to it? And there are so many questions of law relating to this particular problem. We would say the mother has invested, the mother will have a right over it, but then the child was also there involved in the entire process. The child is also a stakeholder. If you see it from the perspective of contract, probably the mother has the upper hand, but from the perspective of other things, there are a lot of questions which have to be answered. So such kind of questions is something which will help you to think rationally. Okay? So I would advise you to rather go and read these articles, discuss with your professors, and try to come out with your own questions. Because law is what? It's about few articles and sections which are written in a book. You have to think about real life scenarios and how they fit in, which helps you better. Okay? To start reading extensively, but I don't know what to begin with. I try. See, I'll tell you, start with some non-fiction books which would help you. Like, I also had this problem, Fira Kick. I don't know what your real name is, so I'm going by the pseudonym which is given here. So I would suggest you to start reading some books like how I started. I started reading books by Nani Palkhiwala, and he was a famous lawyer, and his book, We the People. Now, I started enjoying that book, and that's how, it's basically a trouble which we have here to finish up a book. If we enjoy the book, we start reading it. And if you have anything related to law, even if you're preparing, Nani Palkhiwala is going to mesmerize you, the way he has created his dream for India. And more and more and more and more you read, you're more connected to it. You'll be more fascinated by it. And the moment you do away with your first book will be the moment right after that you have to start with your second book. And when it becomes a process, it becomes a habit. As they say, it takes you 21 days to develop a habit. For 21 days at least you should confine an hour for a book reading, and you should say, okay, I'm doing it for 21 days, this book. And Nani Palkhiwala's books are something which will mesmerize you and which will interest you. And start from there. So this starting trouble would go on, and then I think things will gradually, come up. So probably you were reading something which is not interesting you. So go to a crosswords, sit there, try picking up some books, try reading those books. One of the books which I have recommended is Nani Palkhiwala's We the People. Try reading that. I think you will enjoy it. In NLU Nagpur, I want to practice law in future in High Court and Supreme Court. Any suggestion? How should I plan my next 7th semester? Okay, if you want to practice, believe me, there is something which I can advise you is you should do a lot of research as well as presentations. You should build upon on your on your ways how you are going to present a particular ideas. So I'm very sure in national law schools they give you project presentations, etc. Work hard on them. Do not copy it from your seniors. Work on them. Prepare your own researchers. Try to participate in as many moot courts as you can. It doesn't matter you win, you lose. Participate. Participate. Hone your skills. Prepare yourself in such a manner. Go and start interning with lawyers who are in High Court and Supreme Court. Gain their confidence. How would you gain their confidence? You have to work for it. The moment you start working for for them, they may not trust you. As in law firm, there are a lot of confidential things which happen. But then how would you earn that trust? Show your intelligence. Any small work also which is given to you, try to prove your point. If it's a research point, try to research it in a very proper manner. And try to talk, try to indulge in discussions with them. And that will help you to scale up. And for the next 7 semesters, I would say, try to participate in this moot court events, etc., which really helps you a lot in knowing the profession. And make sure your procedural law, which I was speaking initially in my presentation, is good, because procedural law is something which is going to get you a lot of help. Mr. Harish Salvi is exceptional in procedural law, and that is why he's one of the highest paid lawyers, and he uses procedure to win many cases. I've seen it from my eyes. Some effective way to learn Constitution. Okay, the most effective way to learn Constitution is single thing. You learn 2 things. One, Constitution. The other is constitutional law. So first you have to understand the Constitution of India, that how we are. So if you were if we were doing this in person, I would have asked you this question: what do you mean by the word Constitution? And believe me, whenever I've asked this question, I get a lot of answers, but not the real answer. The meaning of the word Constitution is how a particular thing is constituted. So if someone is going to come and ask you what is your Constitution, you will say skin, bone, blood, organs. That's how you are constituted. What is the constitution of your family? father, mother, in some places mother, father, the way power center is there. So that's the meaning of the constitution. The first task that you have to do while understanding or learning constitutional law is understand how we are constituted. So you have to start right from rule of law. That is, on the top we have law, which is constitution. Below it we are there. And how are we constituted? And at the bottommost level you have people. But people are the ones who are running the entire constitution. And constitution is giving them the power. And that power which is given to people is called as constitutional law. So divide these two. First understand constitution, how we are constituted. Create probably a map and paste it in your room. Look at it daily and say, okay, this is how the constitution is there. Then learn the constitution one by one, the dynamics of relation between each of those constitutional bodies involving you also, and then you realize that it's easy. It's just like how you are constituted at your home. Certain things are done by father, the certain things are done by your mother, and it's an unwritten law, right, at home. And similarly, you are running a country. So that's how you have to learn that. Great. Okay, how to master in Hindi essay writing? I'm a bit weak in that, but then again, it's a language. Hindi is also a language, and it's a beautiful language. So if you want to master yourself in essay writing in Hindi, pick up a topic. Again, I'm saying anything which is closer to your heart. Any topic. It can be just anything. Start writing on it. So moments before, I was just discussing with one of my colleagues that how writing happens to you. So I remember in literature classes, the very first thing which is taught to you, often in college level, is Shakespeare and Romeo and Juliet. So people basically start with romance. Why? Because when they want to impress a member of opposite sex, they try to be more articulate. They try to be more and more impressive with their words, and they think beyond the box. That's how, when you are writing something, you have to fall in love with that theme. You have to research about it. You have to think about it, and then slowly you have to create something. And it's not me who's saying this, but legendary writers have said that the first draft of everything is, in a very derogatory manner, they say the first draft of everything is shit. But I don't agree with it. The first draft of everything is something which should be treasured. It should not be thrown away, because that's exactly where probably you have written your ideas. And then there will be 6 to 7 drafts, and the final draft is something which is the best, but then it's always from the first draft that you pick up. So if you are not able to write, if you're stuck somewhere, don't get stuck. Think about it. There will be 6, 7, 8 drafts, and then finally something would come. Try to write those things, okay? That's how essay writing happens. Okay. So Abhyuday, you have already given me an answer which was not the right answer which I was looking at. You were saying a set of rules which we are governed is constitution. No, I was asking you the dictionary meaning of it. Constitution means how we are constituted. So that's the difference which you have to understand. And once you understand this, once you are able to make sense of it, it becomes crystal clear and very easy for you to go ahead in life. Okay. Any more questions? I think we are almost up with our time. Anything else we need to discuss? It's 4:53. Okay, I guess we are done. Wonderful. Thank you guys. Thank you for being such wonderful audiences. Stay connected. I am available on the social media as well, and so is the law school I represent in the Global Law School. We are also there for you. If you have any question relating to anything, please feel free to get connected. It may take a bit of a time to reply, but I'll surely reply, and I'll surely try to get in touch with you and get back to you. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. You've been a wonderful audience. Stay safe, because we are living in the age of pandemic. So this is something which I have to compulsorily say. Wear your mask, save lives, and also save yourself. Thank you so much.